Good morning. And thank you guys for what you're doing out there. The governor in his budget, your general government operations contains $300,000 for programs to build interest in law enforcement careers, but doesn't say anything about what that's going to be used for or how it's going to be used. Can you explain that for us?
Sure, Senator. Thank you for that question. As we stated earlier, recruiting remains a challenge for not just us, but every agency of which we're aware across the United States. We've tried to set up and be very intentional with kind of a lifetime approach to get people who might be interested in being in law enforcement, starting with our more than 24 Camp Cadet programs across the Commonwealth, and then our Hill Impact program, and then our Law and Leadership program. And they would be all tailored for people who are interested in law enforcement, amongst our other recruiting initiatives. I turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel King to talk to you specifically about that. We, in the past, commissioned an advertising campaign, which we were told by traditional metrics of how you would gauge the success of the campaign, how many people clicked on it, how many people watched the content all the way through. We've obviously been very diligent to try and we were successful in removing the a college requirement to try and open it up to more people who might be interested in becoming a trooper. The class that just graduated early in December 6th, I believe, of the 62 troopers who graduated, high 40%, call it 45+%, were troopers who would not have otherwise be there. So
thank you.
We're trying to take a holistic approach.
Colonel King, the Camp Cadet program, how is that working right now? I mean, are you seeing a reduction in the number of members that...
Sir, they had dropped a little bit, obviously, because of COVID, but we're seeing a steady rise back to pre-pandemic levels. And what the Colonel had mentioned about those two programs, Hill Impact and Law and Leadership, they kind of followed that path of Camp Cadet, where the Hill Impact is targeted for 15 to 18-year-olds, whereas Law and Leadership program is 19 and older, and it follows that path to people or young adults that are interested in a law enforcement career or possibly the military. We actually partner with the National Guard in these two programs.
Yeah, I appreciate that partnership as well. I want to switch over. I have Penn State in my district, and you guys have been up at the home games and doing, working with the campus police and everything, doing great work. And I understand now you're able to go to the away games. Penn State offered to pay for that, and you guys declined. I was just kind of curious as to why.
So just to make sure, the game day 7 home games, the operational support that we provide to Penn State University is reimbursed. The program, as we initiate to what you're referring right now, allows us access to the athletes, and that was a thought not just at Penn State, but we had representation both at Pitt and Temple for their spring games. We've tried to have outreach to the PSAC schools, any place where we think it is a good recruiting environment. Back to Penn State, you know, only 3% of Division I college football players will play in the NFL. So the idea that we can have access through this recruiter or a number of recruiters who are there, not just on game day, but they participate in discussions and they do talks to open up potential Penn State athletes, not just on the football team. In year 2 here, we've had expanded access to some other sports teams at Penn State. And we just basically want to have an interaction in addition to seeing the trooper on the sidelines that day. So that ultimately came to me. I was aware of the overture. It's a recruiting initiative, so that does not come out. We're not billing Penn State for that. And we're trying to expand our brand alongside of Penn State's brand. So the costs are minimal, and we decided that we would bear that.
All right, thanks. Yeah, that was what I wanted to get to, because this is a budget hearing. I'm trying to...
I apologize, sir.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. Do you still have 2 troopers who are directly involved with the anti-human trafficking? Is that, you still have those that are still dedicated
yes,
to that?
Yes, in fact, I turned it over to Lieutenant Colonel Bivens, but we did have a very good case within the last year in partnership with the Attorney General's office, but our collaborations, our task force modeled, but yes, I've turned it over to Lieutenant Colonel Bivens.
And I'm sorry, there was a noise there. You asked about human trafficking?
Yeah, you've got two, I think, well,
We
they are
actually,
troopers.
we actually have a few more investigators assigned to that initiative at this point.
Good.
And we've had I think, a very successful past year with in excess of 40 investigations that have been initiated, several successful prosecutions, both at the state and federal level.
Thank you, and I appreciate the way they're partnering with the human trafficking survivor organizations as well. I'd like a second round. So.